Welcome to another IoTempower intro video. I'm your host Ulno, and today we will talk about how to animate an RGB LED strip. We have the normal network setup, but we have some special LED strip here. So this is a 1 meter LED strips with 3 LEDs always showing the same color. And so it's wrapped around here. It's a 12 volt LED strip, so we are getting actually 12 volt from here. And it's only connected to D4 on the Wemos D1 Mini. And the ground from the D1 Mini is also the same ground as the ground of the incoming power here. These two orange pieces are just for holding the LED strip in space here. This is connected to my computer, so I can actually flash the Wemos directly from my computer, but you can later, of course, connect it also to some external power to do this. So we will try now first to address this RGB strip in IoTempower. Let's first see if we are still connected to the right network. Yeah, we are in IoTempower on my own. So, and here is our web portal. So let's look at the documentation for the RGB strip. So if you go here, you find this. And you see there's actually a new version which is called RGB strip bus. The RGB strip itself was very reliable at one point, but due to some kind of expired libraries and some interrupt issues with Wi-Fi, it stopped working. So we will use RGB strip bus here today for making this work. And RGB strip bus only works on D4. It does work on a couple of more pins on the ESP32, but here it's only on D4. So let's get an example. Here's this RGB strip bus and so on that you have to use use the RGB strip. The only thing that kind of can change is the colors, the order of the colors. So let's just set up the RGB strip. And for that, I will actually now do it directly on my computer and not on the Raspberry Pi. So I created a new system folder here, RGB recording. And there's a test01 in there, which we will set up. But as I'm not on the Raspberry Pi, I have to change the system.conf. And in the system.conf, you see I now set my Wi-Fi credentials, IoTempower my own and IoT Rocks, and I have to specify the IP address of the IoTempower MQTT host. If you would do that on the gateway, you don't need to do this, but to speed up compilation times, I'm doing that here today. So here we have a setup file, and as you see that what I just copied, I already prepared here. We didn't actually copy that. So, but this is the same here, what we have here in the example. So let's go back to the editor. And the important thing here, the second is the number of LEDs. And you would say, hey, but there were probably in a meter way more than 10 LEDs there. We have seen more. So that as there is 30 LEDs and 3 are always treated as one with the same color. So when 30 divided by 10, so we have actually 10 differently programmable LEDs here in this LED strip. So this should actually work. So let's flash it and see if we can communicate with it. Should remember the name is strip 1. So let's now deploy serial. Now compiling it. Actually, the nice thing, it turns now very bright. So if we switch to it, so you see the lights turn on because D4 is also the blinking port. And so that's why it turns it all to bright. So on the strip, there's something like pulse width modulation that kind of sends out a signal to program all the LEDs. And so now the device has been flashed and has booted, and the default is to turn all the LEDs off. So let's now check the colors and see if we have the right order of the colors. Else we have to turn something around. So we do an MQTT send to the strip 1. And if you want to control all the LEDs, it works kind of the same as the single RGB LED. So let's turn everything red. Let's check. And yes, so red is definitely right. So let's now try blue. And okay, we are kind of correct. The flickering you see here has to do with the recording. So it has to do something with the recording frequency. So let's try also the other color, blue and green, which should work now as this worked. Good. So let's turn them off and show you that we can actually program singles of these. So we first turn them black. So now everything is off. So now I will do set number 1 red, number 2 number 2 blue, and I will also set number 3 and 4 to blue, and the number 3 green, and the number 4 yellow, which is a mixed color, just to see if the mixing works. So let's check. And so let's see if we can follow. So this is the number 1 here. This is blue. Then the number 2 is red, and the number 2 is blue. And then we have green coming there. And as you see, the yellow looks here very similar because it's reflected from the green. So this is actually pure green, and this here is yellow. So it is correct. So this is all we need to do to actually interact with the RGB strip. We can also set kind of different colors. One funny thing is actually we can put new colors into the front. So I will basically just put in now black. And so then the 4 colors I've defined will move 1 step each time I call this. So I will do this now in the background while we look at it. So I'm now pushing that it should go 1 in the front. You see all the lights shift 1. I will do it again, then shift another one, and then shift another one. And you can already see how we are getting close to some type of animation here. So if I do this more than 10 times, then all the lights will be off because I pushed in black from the front. So let's move to the programming again. So, but now we want to actually do some animation. And as you might see, we have a command that supports animation, but it's a little bit hard to understand. So I will try to break it now down for you. So if you look here, we have this animator. And you see it's only an example, and you see this example is quite complex. But so basically the animator needs an RGB matrix, and an RGB matrix is something that is knit together of several LED strips. So if you have an ESP32, you can actually connect several LED strips to one, and then you can kind of build a matrix out of different RGB strips here together. But we will take this example and basically boil it down to less of the of what it is here. But and then I will explain the other functions of the animator. So we'll take all this, copy that, and put it here in our code. Just go here and do some editing. Now this, and put it below this. You saw I have prepared already 2 other commands, which are similar to the ones I have here. You see I'm defining a matrix based on only 1 LED strips. So you see here this matrix is defined based on 4 LED strips, but I just take 1 here. So you basically say in the matrix how big is this one. So this is 10 times 1, and then I add 1 LED strip here at the position 0, 0, and it if it would be longer than 10 and the matrix would be only 5, then it would wrap around. So basically it goes to the right, then it goes down, then it goes to the left, it goes down, and so on. So same thing we had here with these other LED strips. But we can remove these now. No, we define the matrix. So this was defined out of 4. We have just a matrix defined out of 10. And then we need this animator that allows us, like in a computer game, to animate the pixels that are actually in there. And so as you see, we have here some different things defined. And so let's kind of go down where we actually work with the animator itself. So here is the animator object. So let's remove the one up there, else it would be doubly defined, and it works on the matrix. So you will wonder, what is this EN? So you probably have, or IN, you haven't seen this little command here, because there are some tricks in IoTempower how to address the name inside. So this is basically an IoT node here. So and this is the IoT node called strip. So because internally that is a different name, and also this here is translated into this name. So that's why we use this in here. So, and same for the matrix. So this is a built-in function. So with FPS means the frames per second. So we will want to have 10 frames per second here. You can easily go also up to 100, but I think for seeing things better, we just stay with 10. And then we have a frame builder, which basically means each of these frames has to be constructed. And there you can see where we actually put colors into the LED matrix. So the only thing we have to basically take out now is the lines, because we have here 4 lines in the example that you get, but in our LED strip we have only 1 line. So we can also just say everywhere we see 4, we replace it with 1. So, and then we have a so-called command handler that allows us to actually define the commands that we send via MQTT to the animation. So we have here fade command, we have a fade to command, a scroll and a scroll command. So, and so with a little bit of luck, this compiles. So let's check it out, and if not, we will debug it a little bit. So let's just test if it compiles. Now that wasn't such a great thing, so we must have made a mistake. So matrix was not declared in this scope. Takes a pattern strip number and minus. I think I have a parameter too many here. Let's kind of check this again. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3. So I have no idea how the matrix came in here. So let's try then again to compile it. That looks much better. So let's check again what the commands are that we are giving here. So these are the command handlers. So we have a fade, and that takes a list of further commands that we give here. And this should do a fade on in everything. We have a scroll. And then we have different types. So as you see, we have the type, the pattern that we have. So the first pattern is a rainbow pattern. The second pattern is a gradient pattern, and the third pattern is another gradient. So the first gradient is from green to blue, and the other gradient is from blue to red. So let's do the, let's check it out. So we have to give the pattern, I think, as a then addition here to this. So the first thing is command in set animation. So let's see how set animation parses this. So the first thing is a strip number. The second thing is the pattern. So as we only have one strip in here, we just can give anything for that one. So I assume it would be then, if we wanted to have a rainbow, it should be something like 1, 1. Let's check that, if that works. So the command should be looking something like MQTT send to anim, and we want to have, for example, qual 1, 1. So let's see if that actually has an effect. So I will check it now, and if that works, I will check it once more. Oh, I think we should actually send the code also to the device. So I think let's first do a deploy. And the compile works, but we still need to also flash it. So there it's coming to the device, as you see with the flashing LED. Then it will reboot, turn white, and then it will boot up and turn off the LEDs in a second. So there it's booting up, and now it's ready to receive commands. So let's try a command again, and if I'm correct, it's actually starting to count at 1, so the rainbow should be 1. So, and I will now send this command after we switch to the view, and you see we had kind of a rainbow that was scrolling out. So let's do a rainbow that fades out. And let's switch there. And see now this is getting less light and less light. And you see the colors better the darker the actual LEDs are. And then after a while they are all turned off. So we have also some gradients here. So let's try the fading out of 2. And you see that is very blue and green. And so this turns out slowly. And let's try a fade of the last pattern that we have defined. This is red and blue, and it also goes away slowly. And that's it. And of course, you have to now dig a little bit deeper in this code. So I just want to point you to some very small things to get you started. As you see, there's a lot of funky C stuff with closures actually going on. So the main thing you have to take is you want to set the frame rate. You want to have some kind of frame builder that actually in some ways writes things then every frame into the frame. And then you want to define a couple of commands that you can receive via MQTT. And this way you can build animations. Good. I think even if it's complex, but as you see, the animations are quite smooth that you can achieve here. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, even in spite of the complexity. Feel free to reach out on Discord or some forum if this is very hard, or leave some comments below, and I will try to explain if you get stuck somewhere. But I hope that brings you to the first ways of building an animation in IoTempower with an LED strip, and I'm looking forward to what you are building. I just have to say ciao, stay tuned, and see you soon in the IoT Empire. Ciao!